Yes, I'll have a knuckle sandwich. Yes, I'll have a knuckle sandwich.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Knuckle Sandwich MMA. We are back. I got Nando, my faithful companion, right over there. Wait, over there. There we go. I'm learning, you guys. Anyway, um, what a card that we saw last week. It was a fantastic card. However, we're not going to recap that card today because, well, we already did kind of. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. But we've got so much to unpack on today's podcast of UFC 279. Nando, before the show, said, I got a lot to say. Welcome, Nando. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead. You got something to say?
No, I'm just going to say last week's card was really good. This week is going to be a very big card. Everybody's interested. Everybody wants to see. Even though they say they're not interested, they're interested.
Everybody's interested, man. There's social media everywhere about this card. But let's go ahead and begin as we normally do. We mention everyone on the card. We're just gonna zip through the early prelims, talk about a couple of matches on the prelims, and then we're gonna deep dive. I say deep, okay, into the main card. All right, here we go. So we're starting off the fight card with Darian Weeks versus Johan Lainesse. And the odds are 120 minus 125 for Weeks, plus 105 for Lainesse. And then we're going to move on to Melissa Martinez versus Elise Reed. And there are no odds on that one, as that I see posted on UFC's official site. We're going to go next to Chad Analiger, I think that's how you pronounce it, to Aletin Galley, something like that. And we've got plus 145 for Chad and a minus 170 for Alton Galley. Let's move on next to Norma Dumont. She is fighting Danielle Wolfe, and there are no odds posted for that fight. Do you have something?
Yeah, I'd like to say something about this. Like Norman Dumont, she's 31, she's 305. She lost to Megan Anderson. She beat Aspen Ladd, Felicia Spencer, and Ashley Evans. Now, the reason this fight is going to be interesting is Danielle Wolfe is 38. She's a boxing champion. She's a welterweight boxing champion. She was in the Olympics 2 times, and she was on the Contender. So she has one fight. So they're trying to like push her. The other girl came down from featherweight for this fight, but I think they're trying to build some fighters in featherweight. That's all I have to say about that.
All right, good points. Love it, love it. All right, now we're going to move on to the prelim card, and there's a few fights here that we'll mention every one of them, but there's a few fights I want to talk about just for a minute, and that is the first one on the prelim card, and that is Jake Collier versus Chris Barnett. Now we got Jake Collier at minus 410 versus Chris Barnett's plus 330. And the reason why I like this fight is because both of these guys are super exciting fighters. You're going to see a show. Okay. You're going to see, I think somebody's getting knocked out on this one. But
do you think it's a head kick again?
The head kick, yeah. Chris Barnett, he's the dude that he's a big dude too. What's his weight? Let's see what their weight is on these guys.
Yeah, he's like a little teddy bear.
Collier is 265, and Chris Barnett is 263 as listed. And so they're big boys. When you have big boys like this, they're gonna throw some big punches. And I remember one of the fights, Chris Barnett, he did this flip, man, landed right on his butt, and he was like, yeah. And nobody thought, first of all, he could do a head kick like he did. Was it a spinning wheel kick that he did?
Yeah. It was like a wheel kick. He like acted like he got hit, and then he did this kick, and the guy was like, where did this guy's foot come from?
And it was fast too. So and Collier is no slouch, man. I mean, they're both coming off of losses, but these guys have fought some of the best, and for these guys to meet up in the same bout, it's going to be awesome. You got any comments on this one?
The Chris Barnett, I mean, he's just interesting. He's actually not very tall though. I mean, for that weight class, he's like a Pat Barry, but he's real little, and he's one of DC's favorite fighters. He's like, this guy. I think he used to be he has a black belt in Taekwondo. That explains they're 36 and 33. And Collier lost to Tom Aspinall and Andre Arlovsky. But
Yeah.
those are two good fights, and he's 205 right now.
Yeah, and who lose to, you know, everyone loses to Aspinall until he got hurt. But yeah, that was a good fight too. Next up we have Dennis Tululian, something like that. Wow, these names are hard. He's from Russia versus Jamie Pickett from the United States. And we got a plus 105 for Dennis and minus 125 for Jamie Pickett. Let's see. Let's move along here. We've got Gelton Almeida from Brazil versus Anton Turkalji from Sweden. And we got a plus 500 on Almeida with a minus 675 for Turkalji. And I've never seen the Swede fight before. So I don't know what to say about that one. What do you got?
I just have stats. I mean, I watched a little bit. The Almeida, he has great wrestling. He's 16-2. He's on 11 fight winning streak right now.
Wow.
And the other guy, Anton Turkinov, he's a contender series. He's 8-0. So they're both trying to pull. And the Almeida's 14th. He's ranked 14th right now.
Wow.
So they're trying to like move somebody into that, you know, the division. So this is a good fight for them to get into that 10 to 15.
Agreed. And so this is really important for Anton as well, since he's coming off a contender. If he can beat this guy and get into the top 15, come on, man, that's crazy. That fast. Next one I want to talk about a little bit, and that is Hakeem Dawodu versus Julian Erosa. And I am a huge fan of Erosa because I've seen him make some miraculous comebacks and win. He hit a skid, and then he changed something. I don't know exactly what he changed. I don't know if it was camps or what. But then he started winning again, and he did it in a spectacular fashion. So he's come back, and Hakeem, man, that dude is no slouch. He's just an amazing physical specimen, they're both coming off of wins. Let's see, Hakeem, we've got 13-2-1 as a record, and Julian, we have 27-10-0. What's your thoughts on this one?
I think Hakeem, I like that he does the head to the body. I like that when fighters come, they go boom, head to the body, because the guy covers up, hit him in the body, and then the guy's like, okay. Then he comes down, head to the body's a great. And then the Julian Erosa, he was from 10th Planet. I don't know if he went to another camp, but he's a black belt from 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. He's 4-5. He has wins over, like you said, Charles Jourdain. He has a great reach, great distance. And I think this is the main event of the prelims, right? And I think this is a great way for them to go, because both of these guys are going to leave it all out there, and it's going to be a good fight.
Yeah, I see. I'm looking at this fight as the advantage in one area is Dawodu as far as kicking. If he kicks Julian's legs, that's going to be a long night for Julian. And I see Julian getting him. I think I can see him winning on the ground. But the striking, I don't know, man. They're both good. I think Hakeem is a little crisper, but Julian is a dog, and he doesn't quit. He doesn't know how to quit. So he'll take one, but he's going to give you 2 or 3. And I think Dawodu is gonna kick, move back, throw a punch, move in, and he's gonna make Julian chase him down. I don't think he's gonna pursue Julian. I think he's going to be the counter puncher on this because his punches are a little more crisp.
Yes.
All right. Let's move on to the main card. And I know Nando is super excited about this main card. Got a lot of information for us. So we're going to start off with the first bout of the main card, and that is Johnny Walker versus Ion Kudilaba. And we've got Johnny Walker at 18-7-0 with Kudilaba at 16-7-1. The reach advantage is in Walker's corner. He's at 82-inch reach versus Kudilaba 75-inch reach. And then also in the legs, leg reach, he's 44.5 versus Kudilaba's 41. So we got a shorter, stout guy to the long Johnny Walker. What do you got on this?
Okay, now Johnny Walker was doing really, really good. And then he just started, he had like a skid. He popped his shoulder after one fight because he tried to do the worm. Yeah. He's ranked 13 right now. He went to train with McGregor's camp, and they're trying to, because they're a good boxing camp, they're a good distance, and they're trying to help him with that. Now the Ian Kutatela, he's 28, he's 12 of 2, 1 of 5, and he has a draw. He lost to Ryan Spann. Muhammad Ankalaev, he's a long fighter. He has nice wrestling, and I think this is gonna be it's gonna be Johnny Walker's speed against the technicalness of Eon. And I think that Johnny Walker is gonna have to use he's gonna not have to be so flashy and whatever. He's gonna just have to be basic and set him up, but use good technique. I don't think like basic like bad, but I mean he's gonna have to go to the basics and get in position and not do these flying knees right in the beginning, these kicks right in the beginning, do moves that he knows, he's trying to impress us. He needs to just win this fight.
Yeah, and I agree.
What is your thoughts?
I think both of them need to win. I think it's an important fight for both of them. One thing that I see, Nando, is when these guys get hit, like Kudilaba, he gets angry, man. I mean,
Yeah.
they call him the Hulk for a reason, Don't make him angry because he turns all green. But but they'll tend to brawl. So when they get hurt, they start brawling and they start getting in and mixing it up. So I agree with you as far as Walker goes. He does need to maintain him and keep his technique, because I know when he gets stung too, he starts to flail, and that's when he gets knocked out, man. He gets knocked out, and he has been knocked out a few times now. So he really has to keep his distance. Kudilaba's got to get on the inside. He's going to do some crazy stuff, and I'm telling you right here, right now, making a prediction. Walker will do something flashy.
You think so?
He will do something flashy. One thing that I was watching his interviews, because I watched a few interviews before our show, and Walker was saying that he was taking the CBD, that stuff, and he said it jacked him up for like 6 months.
He was saying that he was having some problems with taking medication.
Yeah.
Stuff. I wasn't sure exactly what medication. I was thinking it was painkillers.
No,
he might taking too many high doses of CBD, and you're supposed to take one a day.
I don't know. Oh, you froze. We're gonna let hopefully Nando will come right back. We'll see in just a second. He froze for just a second. We'll let him keep going, but I'll keep talking about this. So that one is I'm going to go with Johnny Walker on this one, because I think he's got a lot to prove, especially with this new camp and new techniques. Kudilaba, I really haven't seen him morph too much as far as the style. It's kind of a similar style. And I'm going to pause for just a second till we get Nando back online.
Okay. All right, I got Walker in this one. I think that he's gonna get it done. I think this new camp, and we'll see. I like him. I think you need personalities in this weight class, He definitely has a personality. He's like Sam Alvey, but I don't want him to be exactly like Sam Alvey. I want some wins.
Yeah, and I agree with you. So we're agreeing on that fight on Johnny Walker. We got Johnny Walker winning that one. All right, next up we have Irene Aldana at women's bantamweight versus Macy Chasen, and they're both coming off of wins. Both of these guys in their interviews, they want it. They want this win bad. So I'm expecting a really good fight out of this one. Aldana, she's a pretty hard striker. Well, so is Chasen. They're both good strikers. I think Chasen might be a little bit better on the ground. That's my opinion. But I see this as a standing match. And we're looking at, let's see, virtually the same. Few inches difference is all, nothing major. What do you got on this?
They're both 3 of 5. Aldana is ranked 4th right now, and Chasen's ranked 10th. So they're trying to move up in that weight class, and they're trying to stake their claim. And this is exactly what I said. We need these girls to come out there and start winning fights and getting, because the champion's going to be out for a while. So let's try to get some fights in, and let's get your name in the hat, because Juliana Pena needs to fight somebody. You know what I mean? So she needs somebody to, she's not going to, I don't think she's going to get a rematch. She's going to have to beat 2 or 3 people, because it was an outclassing.
I agree with that.
So
she's going to have to win.
I think Aldana. Yeah, I think Aldana. And I don't know. I like that Macy Chasen is a long fighter. She fights good. She fights you know, I think she's southpaw. She might not be southpaw, but she fights lanky. And Aldana kind of fights a little closer. I think she's a better striker, but we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, I think Chasen has more tools, kicks and different things. But I do agree that Aldana is a better striker. She throws right down the pipe, and I think if she can stick those jabs, it's going to hurt Chasen. But I don't see, I can see Chasen also pushing her up against the fence and working in the clinch and then taking her down ultimately. I'm waffling on this one big time as you're talking and telling, talking about the fight, Nando. I'm waffling. I just don't know who's going to win this fight, but I got to pick one, right? I got to pick one. And so, by the way, the last card, I picked all kinds of winners, bro, all kinds of winners. But I digress. We're going to talk about this fight. So I'm going to go, and I'm still waffling up until this very moment. I'm going to go with, oh my gosh, I'm going to go with Chasen.
Okay, I'm going to go with Aldana. I'm going to go with Aldana. I think she's ranked higher. I mean, I know you don't like all the statistics, but I think that she's got a better chance. I think she's going to pull it out. But like you said, it's could go either way.
Yeah.
I think it's going to go to decision now. I don't think they're going to stop each other.
Oh, you don't think so, huh? Okay. All right, let's move on. Now we got another one. This one's a good one too. This is Kevin Holland versus Daniel Rodriguez. Now this one, Daniel Rodriguez took on 2 weeks' notice. So he asked if he could do it at a catch weight because there was no way he could cut that and perform really, cut that kind of weight in 2 weeks. And so Holland agreed. He agreed, let's do it at a catch weight because I want to fight and I want to fight you. These two guys have been trying to fight for a little bit now. Something's always come up and pushed it away. But now we're here, and Holland has agreed to a catch weight fight. They're both coming off of wins. Holland is 23-7-0. Rodriguez is 16-2-0. Height is comparable except for the reach. Holland's got an 81-inch reach. Rodriguez got a 74-inch reach. leg reach is identical. But the weight is 170 at Holland, 189 at Rodriguez. So that's a big weight difference.
Yeah. Yeah, Kevin Holland trains under Travis Lutter. He's got 2-5. He has a no contest. He lost to Marvin Vittori and Derek Brunson, and those are two real top of the tier guys. Daniel Rodriguez is 35. He's 16-2. He's 4-5, and for him, this is a big opportunity. I know that he'd rather have a full camp or whatever, but you got to take, if he can go in there, make it an exciting fight, and even if he loses, I think UFC is going to be thankful. They're going to give him another. They're not going to cut him. They're not going to go against him for this fight. They're going to thank him for this fight. If he wins, it's all win for him.
Yeah.
And Kevin Holland, this is his fight to lose. If he loses it's not bad, but if they keep it exciting, it's no loss for anybody. And I think Kevin Holland's going to probably pull it out. I think he's been training. Was there originally a fight that he was supposed to be against?
I don't know if somebody wasn't able to. Yeah, somebody pulled out, and I don't know who it was. But they pulled out.
I didn't see that.
And Rodriguez stepped in. Now, whenever a fighter steps in, and you're right, Nando, whenever a fighter steps in to save a fight or to save a card, the UFC doesn't forget that, and they'll reward you. But one thing that's really interesting about this particular fight is they're both super exciting to watch. I think Rodriguez hits harder than Kevin Holland. I think Kevin Holland is rangier, lankier, and can stick those jabs. And jabs can stop anybody. We've seen it time and time again. If you have a good jab, I've seen jabs knock people down before. I think that it's going to be style versus power on this fight. And fortunately for Rodriguez, he's got the weight on his side too. But Kevin Holland hasn't cut much weight. He doesn't cut much weight. So he's not going to come in there drained. They're going to be both ready and prepared and watching their interviews. It's going to be an exciting fight. I'm going to go against you, Nando. I'm going to go with Rodriguez on this one. Okay. But but the odds are definitely in Holland's favor. You always take the underdog, though. I'm surprised at you. I'm surprised at you, my friend.
Well, yeah, I like an underdog a lot. Now I'm worried about Kevin Holland because he likes to break up fights. He likes to stop robberies. He likes to, and there's a lot of crime and stuff in Las Vegas, so he needs to stay away from that. Don't go to Fat Burger at night. Don't be going to these places and looking for a warm-up, a tune-up fight before the fight. Just get to the fight.
Kevin Holland stops fry robbery at Fat Burgers. I love that, man. Love it. All right, let's move along. We have Jingliang versus Tony Ferguson. And they both, Lee has not just fought not too long ago.
Yeah.
And they're both coming off of wins. Lee is 19-7-0. Tony Ferguson is 26-7-0. And
wait a minute, who did Ferguson beat? Ferguson's last fight was Chandler. Where he?
Yeah, he lost. That was his last fight. Was Chandler? Okay. Yeah. So his last fight is a loss. Lee's was a win. And they call Lee the Leech because of his wrestling skills. Now, this is an interesting matchup because of the Leech's wrestling skills and Tony's grappling mobility and able to fight off his back. Tony can fight from anywhere pretty much. So it's going to be interesting to see if Lee can control those limbs. You know what I mean? Because Tony can cut you open with those elbows, man. They're like switchblades. machetes, maybe. I don't know, but he can throw those elbows, and if he catches you, he's cutting you. So we're looking at Lee is 6'0", 6 foot, and I didn't realize he was that tall. And Tony is 5'11", equal in weight. Tony's got a longer reach of 76.5 versus Leach's 71.5. Leg reach is identical. What do you got?
Okay, Tony Ferguson was like, I think he was just lost. He went to Jackson Winklejohn, and he's hoping they can tighten things up. They can give him a game plan, because I think he realizes that him just having his own game plan is not the best. He needs to, and even with that being said, his coaches are like, hey, we tried all this. We have a game plan. But you know, Tony, once he gets in there, you know, we hope he sticks to the game plan. We hope that he does what he needs to do and not get into, like, because he was winning that Chandler fight until he got kicked into an oblivion. So, and I think the Leach, he's a big guy. He's a heavy guy. And I think the reason he lost to Khamzat is because Khamzat is huge. Like, he's a middleweight. And I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of Tony's jiu-jitsu, but he is a black belt under 10th Planet. And I think that's probably the best for wrestling. They say jiu-jitsu, but I think 10th Planet, that like guard, I think is going to help him. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm going to go.
I agree with that.
All right, you go, and then we'll say who we have at the end.
Okay. I'm going to say Tony's on a 4-fight losing skid. But
Yes.
he's lost to some monsters, Gaethje, Chandler,
Oliveira, Dariush.
So he's lost to the top, the cream of the crop. However, here's the difference. He's moved up to welterweight. That's huge, because now he's fighting. I mean, he's fighting at a bigger weight class. Now, he's fought at welterweight before, if I recall correctly. But with a new camp, a new weight, a new Tony, hopefully. But I do know this. He's taking some bad losses. The Gaethje loss, you know, he was getting his brain rattled big time. I mean, I can't remember who the ref was, but he got in there and stopped it while he was still on his feet, because that dude was, you know, the ref saved him on that one. Chandler, that knockout, you know, it was one of the most brutal knockouts I've ever seen. And you know, I think he's got a long way to go, man. I think he's got a long way to go, because you don't come back from knockouts like that very easily. You just don't, and maybe you never do. You know, because once they say you get a glass chin, you get a glass chin, and you're easy to knock out. So I'm going to go with the Leach on this one, because of what you said, Nando. He's bigger. He's a big dude, and he's strong. And I think he's gonna. And I've never seen him gas either. So I think he's gonna beat Tony, and I think it'll be a decision. What you got?
I think I got the Leach, but I think he's gonna stop him.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I think he's gonna stop him, and I think. I don't know. I don't see Ferguson coming out of this with the win. I hope so. I mean, he's 38. He's got, like, I don't know if he really has a chance at the title. I mean, maybe, but we're talking for him to get to the title. Well, what is Leach? He's 14. Okay. So he would need 2 years. So he'd need 3 fights if everything went well. It's a lot of fights.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't see that happening. His age, plus the welterweight division is pretty stacked too.
Yeah, he would have to beat like Colby, Gilbert Burns.
He's not beating Colby.
No.
He's not beating Gilbert Burns either, because Gilbert Burns hits hard.
I mean, He could win this. Best case scenario, he fights Masvidal. That would be his best matchup in that top like
That would
10.
be a good fight. I like
Yeah.
that fight. I like that fight a lot. I'm glad you brought that up. Okay.
That would be his best. And then if he wins, just retire because he's not going to get the title. But that would be best case scenario for me. If I was his management, say let's win this, let's go to Sizzler, and then let's go for Masvidal.
Well, I think he wants to go out on a win, you know. And if he starts winning, he'll keep fighting, even if he's 40 years old. I don't see Tony not fighting, but I see if he keeps getting knocked out and losing in spectacular fashion, he needs to for his own health. I mean, you just don't want to see that, and I don't know, man. That Gaethje fight still haunts me because he took a heck of a beating, and he just didn't, he just kept fighting, and it was Herb Dean. Herb Dean's the one who jumped in there and stopped that fight, but and then the kick from hell, wow, but that jettisoned old Chandler up the chain, and he got a new contract and everything else. So there you go. That was a good performance, and that's what they're looking for. With all the contender series fighters, they're telling them, go out there, compete, leave it all in the cage, man. Do what you got to do, because basically he's saying, I want finishes. Okay, I'm going to delve into this just for a second, because you got to think of it this way. If each contender series, if there's 5 finishes, there's 5 new people on the roster, right? Well, the roster,
Yes.
They have to make adjustments. And so you always see the following week, the UFC's parting ways with certain fighters. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I think they gotta keep they have to keep a winning stable. They have to keep people that are continuously winning, and they want to get new people in, and they want to you have to they got to throw a lot at the wall and see what people have personalities, what people want to watch, and they're basically all right. This is the best. These ones aren't doing well. We'll send them to Bellator. We'll send them to PFL. Let them do well there. And I think Dana always says, you do well, you get some wins over there. We'll think about bringing you back. But we have to keep people that are winning. Somebody, if you're like not even ranked and you're losing 3 fights, you're not staying. Or if you're not exciting.
That was the point I was just going to make too. If you're an exciting fighter, I mean, we had what was his name? Smiling Sam Alvey. He won lost like 9 in a row. They liked him, but he always put on exciting fights. And Tony Ferguson, he lost 4 in a row. By all accounts, he should be gone. Why isn't he? Because he's a freaking exciting fighter, and you never know what's going to happen in his fights. And people will tune in. Okay, he's got the eyeballs. People will tune in to see Ferguson fight. So this one with the Leech, both of them have pretty cool personalities too. The Leech, he's got a pretty good personality, and not afraid to to strut around the cage and stuff like that. And people like that stuff. So there you go. And did you pick your winner on this one? You said the Leech, right?
The Leech.
So we're both in agreement on this one as a recap. Now we're going to delve into the main card, or the main fight of the main card, and that is Khamzat Chimaev versus Nate Diaz. And the odds on this one are astonishing. I don't even know. I don't know. I don't know.
What don't you know? I mean, they're trying to disparage and ruin Nate Diaz's name, and I don't like it. I don't. I'll start. Okay. What I didn't like is this week is they did that interview, and I mean, he seems like a sad guy. I don't think we get into the politics of it, but he just seems like, one interview, like, did you see the Brett Okamoto interview?
Yes.
He asked him an easy question. and he rambled on for 15 minutes. I before he I forgot what the question was by the time he answered it. I was like, but I think that, I think he might actually sign back. I think, I think that he's difficult. And when he was saying, yeah, I'll only sign if they sign. I don't want Contender Series. I don't want Ultimate Fighter. I want my 10 buddies to be in the UFC. And they're like, I don't know if we can do that. Like maybe this one, maybe that one, but 10 people for you? Because I'm the best person in the UFC, you know? And he does fight people that all the people he fight are champions. He's not fighting like tune-up fights. He's fighting the best guys.
Yep, yep.
And they're using his name to catapult Khamzat.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that's smart on their part, because if Nate Diaz doesn't resign, they want to make the next superstar, So that's good business sense. Now, did you see the Dana White interview? He said he loves the Diaz brothers. Yes, they are difficult to deal with, but he loves them, man. And Nate's done a lot for the sport. He's done a lot for the company, made him a lot of money. Even with the few interviews that Nate gave, if he doesn't sign back, he's going to be pretty successful wherever he goes, because he'll still have a following. Just because he's not in the UFC, it doesn't mean that he's going to cease to exist. He'll go and he'll probably be able to command. He said he's launching his own promotion, doing that kind of stuff. And that's smart. You always have to think of business dealings and think of your future. And we talked a little bit about that in a few podcasts ago, about what you're going to do after your fight career, whether it's UFC, PFL, Bellator, doesn't matter. You have to give thought to that. And when you have the platform, that's the time that you strike when the iron's hot. And like you said, they may be trying to send Nate out on a losing, a devastating loss. But I don't think it's so much to make Nate pay. I think it's more to, like you said, to launch Khamzat. And that's why I think they're doing that. But, he took the fight. He said he wants out. It would not surprise me if he resigned again with the 10 new contracts for his buddies too. But this fight, so because of the odds and the last fight that Nate had with Leon Edwards, right? He was getting handed, man. He was getting handled. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he cracks Leon and almost knocks him out. And we talked about that too. But Leon did the exact same thing with Usman. He was getting beat the whole fight. And then that head kick came and put out Usman's lights. So it doesn't matter if you're losing 4.5 rounds and there's 10 seconds left and you knock somebody out. All of that stuff doesn't matter. You won. You're the champ. So what I'm saying is, does Nate have a chance to win this fight?
Okay, are we going to say Big B? Because I'm telling you right now, I'm going for Nate, and I'm going to tell you how he's going to win. So I'm going to say, yeah. I'm going to say right now, I'm going for Nate. Now, this is how I think he's going to win. He's going to have to go to the body. He's going to have to win it standing, boxing, hit him in the body, punch a hole in that gas tank. When it comes to the ground, I would like him to do like I said with Tony, like that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu 10th Planet, where he has his limbs high on his waist, keep his hands close, and get them to stand him back up. Don't let him take you and be on your back. Don't let him let you be on your knees or whatever, because that's his advantage. He's going to want to hold you down and hit you. He'd rather not utilize up kicks when he's coming, because he likes to release you and come like that. Use the up kicks, and I think he's gonna have to, if he keeps that, Khamzat's gonna get he's gonna get frustrated. And then the fourth and fifth is where you start Diaz just start going to the body, moving, and that what it is Khamzat versus Gilbert Burns. It was big hits. He needs lots of hits. He needs like a Colby Covington style and just slow him down. And if he does that, it's gonna be in his favor. What do you think?
Ooh, that's a pretty good analysis. I like that. And I can see it. I can see it very clearly. But he has to have certain things that Khamzat will and won't do for that to happen. And that is Khamzat needs to agree in his own mind to fight on the feet for a little while because it is the main card. It's the main fight of the card on a pay-per-view. They don't want it to end in 10 seconds unless it's a spectacular knockout. But like what he did to the Leech, he just rushed him, muscled him, took him over to his corner, rolled him on the ground, got on his back, and choked him out very fast, very quickly. And Leech didn't even really have a chance to do anything, really. He didn't have a chance to do anything. So if Khamzat kind of makes that agreement, okay, I want to show my boxing skills, I want to show this, I want to show that. Because if Khamzat attacks him like he did and does the same strategy as he did with the Leech, they're going to be dry and they're going to be sticky. They're not going to be slippery. And so it's going to be hard for Nate to get out of that if he starts putting body locks on him and starts, locking his hands and stuff like that. And his strength, he's bigger than Nate. He's stronger than Nate. And so if he decides to do that, he'll win that fight. He'll win it probably quite early. But I think he also wants to prove something. And because Nate is not ranked, right? He's ranked number what, 4?
Yeah.
Number 4. So he's ranked high. Nate has no ranking. He's fighting for money. There's nothing he can lose. If he loses to Nate, Nate's going to have all of a sudden all this bargaining power with the UFC, and he'll probably get whatever he wants, a la Conor McGregor back in the day. He'll probably get what he wants, but I think it's unlikely. I think the odds. I don't know about the odds. The odds are really like this or crazy. But it just depends. What style is Khamzat going to bring? If he chooses to fight on the feet and wants to go into some rounds and to show his skill set, his tools, what you described as far as what Nate needs to do, then I believe Nate can win that fight. I do, because he doesn't quit, and then he gets stronger as the rounds go on. I don't think I've ever seen Nate gas. And if he touches you, again, he's got some of the best strikes because they hurt, they don't look very powerful, but there's a whole bunch of them. And I can see what you said about going to the body, Khamzat's body. Yeah, you're going to burn that gas tank. And Khamzat does have a temper. He doesn't, if he gets hurt, he does have a temper. And Nate he's cool as a cucumber, man. You can cut him all up, but he's still cool as a cucumber. He's still doing this. He's still pointing at you after he slaps your face. And I'm going to go with Khamzat on this one. However, I want Nate to win. My money is with Khamzat, and it's only $1. But my heart is with Nate, because I think here's what I really hope, regardless of who wins this fight, Nando, and that is that it goes 5 rounds. That's what I really want. I want this fight to go 5 rounds.
If it goes 5 rounds, Nate Diaz wins. I don't think Khamzat will make it 5 rounds.
I agree with you.
He says I'd like him to go 5 rounds. I'd like to see. So I'm thinking he's going into right where the Diaz army needs him to go. Try to try to beat us for 5 rounds, and then that's when Nate Diaz is gonna, you know, prove to everybody. But I think this is a win-win, even though he feels like everybody's against him. I think win or lose his real fight, I think the UFC will have it on Fight Pass. Just like they had Eagle FC, just like they have Jorge Masvidal's promotion. They're gonna promote it. They're gonna go, hey, we'll do your promotion. It'll be on Fight Pass. You'll get money from that. We'll sign. You lost. We'll sign 5 of your guys. The other guy's got to go through Contender, and then we'll give you all this money.
Yeah,
He
and
wins
but
all
that's
10 guys.
that's an advantage for an upstart too. You
Mhm.
know, it just depends on, okay, what percentages are we getting off of this, off of your promotion, but what are we bringing to the table, our platform, you know, that we're going to help build this and help build you, because right now I don't believe the UFC is worried about anybody. I don't, you know, Bellator is nowhere near UFC territory. None of them are. But and people say, well, now they're getting all these, you know, people that the UFC is cutting, and they're going to these other promotions. But that's not just it. It's not just a personality that makes a promotion. It is how they conduct business. It's how they increase their audience that makes the UFC who they are.
The brand.
The brand. Yes.
Because when you say this guy's an MMA fighter, what does everybody say to you? Oh, is he in the UFC? Like my mom will be like, oh, is that guy in the UFC? Is that guy? They don't go, oh, is he in Bellator? Is he in PFL? No, because it's not like you have to be like us and know these other people. And then a lot of people that watch the PFL, they're like, oh, this guy was in the UFC. It's a name, it's a brand, it's you know, and they have a lot of fighters, and they've now made all these smaller shows to get these fighters, and then it's a lot of these bigger names are on the pay-per-view. They're not wasting these bigger names on smaller things, except like an ESPN or something that's big. They have a big guy.
You know, and I think I truly think too, and I could be wrong, that the UFC is not trying to squash all these other promotions, because, you know, like he said, he's helping Eagle FC. You know, he's helping. You know, and they're putting some of the other smaller promotions on Fight Pass and doing stuff like that. They're not trying to just squash them into oblivion to be the only MMA organization in the world, because they see a lot of other fighters coming in through these other organizations, and so they're kind of moving around. All the fighters are moving around, which is better for the fighters too, because if you're on a regional local circuit, right, and you're fighting and you got real good skills and stuff, because we've had a couple of fighters come from Utah, you know, that have ended up in the UFC, but they had to go up through the ranks and stuff like that. So for fighters, it's good too, because if it's one entity, if it's a monopoly and there's no other fight promotions out there, it's going to be damn hard to get into the UFC. It's going to be damn hard. But when you have all of these, and I don't want to call them farm teams, because those guys are businesses. They're legitimate businesses, trying to increase their promotion, their brand, and do all the things that they do. But ultimately, when you have a power structure like the UFC, those guys they become kind of like a farm team, because they all want to go to the UFC, you know. And I know Luke Rockhold, he's pretty bitter about the UFC, but he's telling them, you know, get your money elsewhere. Other fighters are saying, get your money elsewhere, you know, don't just go for the UFC. But like you said, it's like being an Olympian. How much as Henry Cejudo used, I'm an Olympic gold medal champion, right? His whole career. And so that doesn't leave you. That dude's an Olympian, man. That dude's a UFC champ, a double champ, you know, CC, triple C, you know. And so you use that because that helps you also in your, future as far as fighting goes. Because Nate, if he chooses, which I don't think he'll come back to UFC. I don't. I think he will be able to choose whatever he wants out there. You know, how long it'll last, nobody knows. Okay, because that candle could go out. Because it's like, yeah, you know, there was excitement there, but there's not much behind the promotion. They're not doing a whole bunch, and then it just slowly dims, right? But at the outset, whether he wins or loses this fight, he'll still be able to ride it, because I think the first in line will be Jake Paul. He's going to be first in line, saying, "Okay, let's go, you and me, millions of dollars, let's do it."
Yeah,
And
because I don't think Jake Paul's beating Anderson Silva, so that would be the next best
I don't
thing.
know about that. I watched Joe Rogan. Not that he's always right, but he has some good points.
We'll see. He's still
All
Anderson
right.
Silva.
So before we close the show today, we have to touch on the Tai Tuivasa Cyril Gane fight. Okay, just a couple of minutes, you guys. Bear with us, because it was insane. That card was a great card, but I want to talk about this fight in particular, because I think I'm going against the grain. I think I'm swimming upriver against all you, including Nando. But I'm not going to say anything till I hear Nando's thoughts on this fight. So go for it, Nando.
I think Tai Tuivasa did what he needed to do. It just didn't work. He did exactly what I said he needed to do, and he almost knocked him out. My son was screaming, "Let's get the shoe! Let's get the shoe!" And then it didn't work, because Cyril Gane did exactly what you said. He worked on the body. He kept him at bay, and he just picked his shots. And he proved that he's a better striker, like a lot better striker. And I think Tai Tuivasa and Aspen Ladd, that's going to be the next fight, which that would be a good one. You know, that's what originally I wanted them to do, was but they didn't want to burn these two up and coming guys. And they wanted to the same thing. They wanted to either have them beat somebody high and get them to a title, or these people that were the favorites to get to the title. They wanted to build the names.
Yeah, that was good. So here's my thought. Okay, I'm sure you're going to disagree with me. I went back and rewatched the knockdown of Cyril Gane. He did not almost knock him out. I thought he did when I watched the fight for the first time. But when I went back and looked at it, he knocked him down, and it was a solid punch. But I was looking at the eyes, because you can tell when somebody's rocked, their eyes just kind of go crazy, right? They're like, where am I? Who am I? What am I? And that didn't happen. He knocked him down on his butt. But if you notice, if you go back and watch it again, he got right back up again. Totally, he wasn't wobbly. He wasn't on chicken legs. He stepped away. He was smart enough to go to the side and then get his bearings back again. But I think the look on his face, to me, was that it scared Cyril Gane, because that's never happened to him before. And he was like shocked, like, what? But I don't think that he almost knocked him out, because even when he was trying to get up and Tuivasa advanced and he's trying to finish him, he was nowhere near being finished, because he was still defending himself and got away. And then that's when I saw the technique and the skill set like separate, like whoa. And man, Tuivasa's got to have some internal organs, all, his lung is probably where his kidney is, and his liver is over behind the spine somewhere hiding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But those shots, as tough as Tuivasa is, he was wincing on everything. Oh my gosh. And I was just like going, oh, he's getting creamed. And also, he's too tough for his own good too. He took a beating, man. He took a bad beating. And Cyril Gane was there to deliver it, and he wasn't missing on a lot of shots. Cyril Gane was, he was pretty accurate, and even though Tuivasa was moving forward, he was just, to me, he just kind of looked like he was taking too many shots. way too many shots. And when he finally went down, and the ref stepped in, you know, it was just merciful because he was just after the knockdown of Cyril Gane, and then as the fight progressed, to me, it didn't look like Tuivasa belonged in there with him. That the skill sets were way levels different. You know, Tuivasa's tough. He's crazy. He's cool. Love him. But the skill sets were really evident on different on the levels. You know, all these fighters say there's levels to this game, and there is. You know, even if you have the power of Tuivasa, there's levels to the game if you cannot finish the dude. And that was proven with Derek Lewis too. There's levels. If you don't get that knockout shot, you know, they become quite evident. So, but one thing that I do know, both of them, their stock went up. You agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. I think Tai Tuivasa probably Aspinall's probably the next fight. I think he needs to, like you said, go to the doctor, have them scan everything because, you know, he's still got a career. You know, he's still gonna fight. It's just he's got to get some more skills involved.
Yep. Well, yeah, but when you're fighting the best in the world, you know, when he was fighting the lower guys, you know, he was doing really well. But like I said, you know, there's levels to the game, and when you're up there, you gotta step up your game. You know, and I know that he's pretty serious about, you know, in a lot of his previous interviews, I don't care, you know, whatever, you know. But then for this one, he was like more serious and more, you know, dedicated to his camps. And not that he wasn't going to doing camp or the right way, but it was more like, you know, I'm just going to knock this guy out anyway, and that kind of a thing. And this one, he was just very more tuned in. And now he's going to have to get even more because he realizes there's levels to the game, you know. And I think he'd be a great champion. He'd be fun. He'd be a fun champion to have. But he's got to get some more skills for sure when you're fighting the best of the very best in heavyweight.
Mm-hmm.
So who do you think Gane faces next?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't. I'm trying to think. Like John Jones has Stipe, right? As far as we all know.
Yeah.
Curtis Blaydes. I don't know. I think that's probably what they're gonna end up doing. If I was Gane, I would assess my damage and then do what Volkanovski's doing with the Islam fight and get cleared and be a backup. Because him versus Stipe, be that backup, go into another camp and be ready. But the problem with that though is those are two like really different people to prepare for.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. You know, I think yeah, he shot Curtis Blaydes down. He said, yeah, it wouldn't make sense. He's already talking like he's the champ. You know, he's calling his fights. He's saying, yeah, I'll take him and him, but I'm not going to take him. You know, and that's champ talk right there.
Yeah, I think he's got a better chance with Stipe than Jones. I think Jones will just take him down. He knows the recipe, and he's a way better wrestler than Francis.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about
way
that.
Better, and you know, how do you prepare for Jones's fingers?
Well, I'll tell you what though, if it's true that they don't like Francis Ngannou and they want to make life hard on him, they will make that fight, Jones versus Gane. And Francis, all he can do is sit on the sidelines and watch, you know, and that won't make him happy. I promise you that.
Well, yeah, I mean, the whole thing with him fighting Tyson's not even talking about it anymore. Tyson's came out of retirement. He wants to box. He sees that him being sidelined, the value's kind of lost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know, people are talking about Gone now. They're talking about him and you know, and Jones has been out for so long, you know, he's going to start to fade if he doesn't get a fight pretty soon.
Yeah.
It's you know, he's already fading. It's like Conor McGregor, he's fading. Yeah, you can't be out that long because people forget about you and they don't care about you anymore, and then they're not talking about you.
Yeah.
All right, sir. Well, you guys, don't forget, please, please like and subscribe. Okay, we need subscribers. We want subscribers. We want you. Okay, hopefully you find our podcast entertaining. It's been great working with Nando. He's man, he's got some serious stats, and love to hear his point of view, his take on the fights, and there's a lot more to come, you guys. There's a lot more to come. They're nonstop almost. They're nonstop every week. It seems like they skip 1 week or 2 weeks a year. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then there'll be more and more fights, and then we'll have to break down Islam and Oliveira.
Yeah. There's some big ones. You know what, Nando? What I like to do, and I haven't even. I like to just say this on the podcast. On some of these fights, I'd like to concentrate maybe on one fight. You know, we'll mention everybody in the card like we always do, but some of these fights are so big. I want to like really break them down and talk about training camps and the things and how it's going and everything like that, and just talk about one fight because I think it'd be really cool. Plus, that forces us to really dig down for info, right? What do you think about that? You want to do that?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, he said yes. And he's the stat man.
All right.
So
the burden figure it out.
No, the burden will be on both of our shoulders. It's not even a burden. We're having a lot of fun. You having fun, Nando?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, man. Well, we're glad that you tuned in to Knuckle Sandwich MMA. We can't wait to see you for the next card. We'll do a recap on this one because I'm sure there's going to be fireworks. And we'll do a recap on this card and see who picked the winners and who picked the losers. Walk of shame time. Okay. I didn't do the walk of shame last card because I was picking all kinds of winners. Nando, you know, he likes the underdogs.
Yeah.
I picked a couple of underdogs this time. So there you go. All right, guys. Nando, we'll let you send us off.
All right. Thanks for watching our show. We're going to try to get better and better. Remember, Knuckle Sandwich.
Yeah. See you guys later. Bye.
Later.
Yes, I'll have a knuckle sandwich. Yes, I'll have a knuckle sandwich.